Kickstarter's Find a Way for the week of October 14th, 2019. Tiny Epic is back, and this time with dinosaurs. You're all dinosaur farmers who are breeding dinosaurs in order to sell them off to the parks and nothing else. In this game, you will be breeding different dinosaurs, sending your farmers to different places to take different actions, which of course could be getting more resources, increasing the different kinds of dinosaurs you actually are breeding. And then of course you'll have to worry about whether your dinosaurs are going to be breaking the fence or breaking out if they're herbivores, or if they're carnivores, maybe eating some of your very precious livestock. This is the, I believe, 12th line in the Tiny Epic series.
That's a lot.
Yes, it's quite a bit for something so small. And I think it's already hit way past their pledge goals for lots of different stretch goals for like better components. And I don't think as of yet, but probably if you're watching it, the Mosasaurus, because after Jurassic World, everyone wants that sea creature. Dinosaurs are awesome.
I love how this is now a subgenre of board games, as Dinosaur Tycoon, basically.
Yes.
Jurassic Park, basically.
Yeah, because we love it.
Yeah.
And because let's be honest, as they say in the beginning of the video, for best or for worse, which is, and honest, it's for the best. Dinosaurs now exist alongside humans. We need to get this started, people.
I agree. Can only bring about good things for mankind.
Mm-hmm. I don't think, I know I haven't, but have you played any of the Tiny Epic?
As many as there are, I have still somehow avoided all of them. But I've been interested in a number of them.
Yeah, I think this is definitely the one that I might finally grab. I don't care how many. It's like Cthulhu, dinosaurs. I'll take as many copies of different games of that in that genre. And for $20, I mean, they're all tiny and epic. It's a very good deal.
Of course, another word for tiny is miniature, which segues us into our next game, Scott Pilgrim Miniatures The World. A miniatures game based on the Scott Pilgrim vs. the World comics. Not the movie, it's based on all the art from the comics and storyline and characters. This is from Renegade Game Studios, who also did the Scott Pilgrim Precious Little Life game, which was a deck building card game. This is a much bigger affair. It's a big miniatures battle game. You're going to be taking on either the roles of the good guys or the bad guys. It is for 2 to 4 players, depending on which maps you're using, and you will be rolling dice, and depending on the symbols you get and how you want to use them by yourself or with a teammate, you are going to be activating different powers. And you can also use things in the environment. You might be fighting on a stage with a band, like in Scott Pilgrim, or various other places from the story of the comics. Now, this is a big old game. It goes for $90 because there are a bunch of miniatures, and they're pre-painted. So they do look really nice, and they are very much in the style. If you like that art style and those characters, I think you're going to be happy with it. For me, this is definitely a bit of a weird one that I more just wanted to talk about than really that I personally think I want to back. We're not huge miniatures gamers in general, but...
Speak for yourself, I have too many games of that.
Oh yeah, I forgot, you're a huge Warhammer freak on the weekends. Yeah. But it does seem like a kind of a strange choice for a miniatures game to me out front, just because I think of Scott Pilgrim as, it's more about the smaller storyline. I mean, there's a lot of battling in it, to be sure, but it didn't seem to lend itself to that style to me as much.
I think the thing is, one, they have the property, so why won't they make another kind of game for Scott Pilgrim? Two, Scott Pilgrim is a nerdy thing, and we like collectibles. I mean, there's a reason Funko sells so well.
That's absolutely true.
And with the pre-painted minis, that's very helpful, so you don't have like, oh, here are my gray things.
Yeah, they do look really cute. They are well designed. I got to give them that. It will just remain to be seen whether the gameplay adds enough to that miniatures formula to make it worthwhile.
I think one of the issues to me, though, with a lot of miniatures games, either you got to, I guess this would fall more like Unmatched. When I was thinking about a lot of things I think of more where you have either hordes or it's like Power Rangers where there's a lot of Rangers to pull from, so there's a lot of figures. I don't know. Was it 13 for the evil side and maybe 6 or 7 for the good?
You have a much more limited pool of characters. That's absolutely true. Well, if you're a Scott Pilgrim fan, let us know what you think. You can get that base set for $90. They also have some other expansions that you can add on to there as well.
I'm staying on the dinosaur train with Kids Table Board Gaming's Fossilis. This is a game where you are playing as paleontologists, and you actually set up this 3D board in which you will have to dig through the earth like real paleontologists in order to reach the fossilized bones. You will collect those dinosaur bones in order to complete sets in your museum. You'll try to get different sets, maybe of herbivores, carnivores, what have you, in order to score the most points. Those tiles you remove in order to reach those bones will also be used to upgrade your equipment, maybe get better things to go through clay, stone, whatever you're trying to build for. This looks like a really cool 3D game, another great dinosaur game, and this time you have a bit of a cool 3D setup. The way you actually do it is cool too. You take all the bones, you put them in the hole, and you actually have a thing to put on top and shake to make it a bit more random, and then slide in the tiles so no one knows exactly where, like, maybe the skulls are versus the rib bones and stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
There's also, because this, if you can guess from the title, they focus on like kids games, so you can actually, they change up the rules in order to make it so take away rules and stuff that would be more accessible to kids, and obviously more, the regular rules are for the more advanced gamers, which I really do appreciate.
Yeah, that's always nice to see.
It's for $40 too, so not a big hurt for your wallet, unlike maybe a heavy miniatures game. So you can check it out now.
Here's a solo game called Hunted that has two different versions at the moment. One of them is clearly inspired by the movie Die Hard. The other one certainly takes from Alien for its inspiration, but both use the same general system. You're going to be drawing cards from a deck and pushing your luck, because as you draw cards, you'll be able to perhaps find items, things to help you, but if you draw too many and detract too much noise, then the enemy will fall upon you. Now, what makes the games different is that they have different combat mechanics. So in the one that is inspired by Die Hard, they have different names, but that's how I'm going to call them, the Die Hard and the Alien one. You roll dice for your combat, and you need to match certain symbols in order to defeat bad guys. The Alien one is actually dexterity. So you will get little tokens, and you're trying to flip them onto alien cards in the right way in order to do damage. So two very different systems, but otherwise they are the same engine, but with a completely different theme. And they just seemed really cool to me. They have a cool artwork. Like I said, very heavily inspired by those two 80s movies that we're big fans of.
Oh, quite.
Yeah, so I mean, it seemed like a really good setting for a solo game because, of course, Die Hard and Alien are both about one person, kind of a sole survivor against a horde,
Which is perfect for the solo. And also, I think solos, I do like seeing a lot on Kickstarter because it's one of those things where if you're backing something, you don't have to think like, okay, will this person like this? By the time it comes out, it's solo. It's me.
Right, you're ready for it. By the way, I realize I'm kind of conflating Alien and Aliens as I talk about it. I know they're different movies, but...
Well, I assumed you're just going like genre.
Yeah, they take from
or
both.
not genre, series?
Yeah, franchise, what have you. But check it out. I think it looks really cool. You can get each game for $19 or get them both together for $35.
Mind Burners is sort of a magic cyberpunk game where you are entering what's called the Void in order to collect resources, and the first person to 10 points win. The way the game works, it's sort of a push your luck game, where each round you get a starting health and energy depending on what happened in the previous round. You then also get different action cards. Some of them are spent during prep, some during the actual run. Now, you can spend them to also get some more energy or health, depending on what you want. Then, you will flip over these void cards. Now, the void cards come in either enemies, events, or the void beacons, which are your victory points. Now, when the enemy comes out, it's going to deal damage to you. Usually, you start with 5. You could have more or less depending on what you do in the beginning. After you deal with that, whatever the card is, it could be the event or enemy, you can choose to either back out or keep going. Now, if you back out, you'll get any victory points you've gotten, depending on the number of cards you've pushed ahead on. So the later you back out, the better. You also get some other rewards, maybe hold on to some cards for later events. Now, if you keep going, if you die, you'll get any victory points you get, but that's it. You don't get to keep any of the bonus cards and stuff. But if you make it through 10 cards, that's a full run, you're going to get a whole lot of extra bonus points and everything for backing out. So there's that really delicious, like, oh, if I can make those few more cards, I can really do well. Simple game besides that. I thought the art was really cute and the interactions. This does, I think if you're a Magic player, it works a lot like that, where there's a stack where, let's say I played a card that deals 2 damage to you. You can be like, hold on, I'm going to play this that pushes everyone out first. Then I'm like, oh, well, then someone else like, I'm going to play a card that cancels one of yours. So it goes in that reverse order too. So there's that fun bit of interaction as well.
I think that's, I glanced at this one. I think that's part of what potentially scared me about it. I saw a lot of cards that were about hurting each other.
It does seem like that, but also I don't know what the way energy works, like because you've got to pay to cast them, so to speak. That if it better hold on, because you can get something called like overcharge too if you put at the beginning of the round. So like, I don't know how much of it you want to actually do to hurt each other or save for that.
Definitely a fan of the art style too and the theme. Cool.
And for $20, again, not that hard. It looks like a fun little game if you like that. If you're definitely a fan of that push your luck, but do like maybe a bit more of the take that aspect.
Finishing off with Arcana Academy, which is a role-playing game that takes place in a school for wizards. Essentially, if you've ever wanted a Harry Potter RPG, this maybe is the closest that you will be able to get. Players are students at this school, and they can, of course, go to classes, learn spells, etc. But there's also a heavy focus on mystery. There's going to be something going on that you have to figure out behind the scenes, as well as your interactions with the NPCs. Your relationships with other students and teachers is very important, and they have a whole system to keep track of that and how it might affect the game. This is, I believe, based on the Powered by the Apocalypse system. So if you're familiar with that, you may be at home here. Designed for not just one-shots, but really longer campaign play. And I just love the idea of having wizards and magic, which of course are in many RPGs, but in a non-combat setting, and seeing what you can do with that in a school environment or whatever other crazy places takes you.
Well, one, I'm curious, because Harry Potter, one of the sort of elements that go around is how it's wizards in the modern world. Do you know if this is like it varies, or is it supposed to
I actually do not know that. I didn't see anything describing what time period it's in or anything like that.
So you could probably shift it to whatever you want.
I'm sure, yeah.
And the other thing, what I agree, I do like that saying, because this makes it more of like less about how can I roll the most dice for my damage, and maybe more of the, I guess for lack of a better term, like dating simulator with dealing with people.
Yeah.
I guess I would be excited to have, if someone's a GM for this, if someone who's more experienced in the fire room, because then they can make a lot more interesting interactions. It sounds like that should be a stronger focus.
Yeah, I agree. Like that kind of stuff I think is really fun and doesn't get explored in too many RPGs.
Well, it's a little hard sometimes.
Outside of the indie ones, at least. Yeah.
I think, because keeping track of everything, everyone has to have their own heart track meter. I don't know how they do in this, because I did not look at this one. But it's definitely something a bit more interesting, because you're thinking more about the interactions. That's why in D&D I actually really like when we end up in non-combat situations. If you watch our podcast, we actually talked about a ghost librarian we just dealt with, and I was really happy I was able to, even though I failed on some rolls, you didn't straight up go, guess what, she's attacking you now.
And that would be right at home in a setting like this, that kind of a scenario. So if you want to try out Arcana Academy, it's $12 to get the PDF, $29 if you want a hardcover version. There's another game we're going to mention this week. It's called Our House. It's a spooky haunted mansion 2-player dueling game that's on Kickstarter now. We have a whole preview video for this one you can check out. If it's not up right away, stay tuned. It should be on our channel within the next couple of days.
I mean, we got to keep all these videos spooky. It's October.
Yeah, we're very on theme here.
But let us know what if you're backing, whether it's the Art House video, not the video, but the game, but all the other games, because we got a great spread, I think. Plenty of dinosaurs, because we need that as well, but we got miniatures, we had an RPG, we had a solo game, so I think a very nice spread of
Something
choices.
for the whole family.
But until then, let us know in the comments down below. This is me pointing, not typing. And until then, I'm Will.
I'm Jonathan.
And this has been Kickstarter, Pickstarter.
Here's an idea. Support our Patreon or like and subscribe to this channel for more.
Fagulu Miktawa audio expansion Wakana Cthulhu awesome.